Well, folks, I've made it to the edge of the world where the heat will truly singe the hair off of your arms. I'm at Badwater Basin in early September, 119 degree heat, about to depart to kick off our road trip this episode. Are you ready? Okay, so we're gonna depart here. I just said my goodbyes for our last episode out there on that vast plain of heat. Boy, is it hot out here. If you didn't see that episode, be sure to check it out. We did a lot of other cool things too, like explored the town of Rhyolite, Nevada. I got to camp in some mountains near Las Vegas. It was beautiful. I mean, what else can I sell you on? It's a good episode. Check it out. But for us here, we have a new adventure to partake in, and as I'm filming this right now in my live context, the future is an unwritten script. Well, I have a plan, but I mean, who knows what will happen along those coordinates. I had a couple ideas of maybe something to commemorate and kick off this episode, and what I think that's going to be, as kind of going back and forth between, do I go back to the Devil's Golf Course, which is one of my go-tos anytime I'm in Death Valley. I love that area. It's weird, but Amy can put up some previous footage of me walking out onto these really like sturdy crystalline structures. I don't know, salt. And it's just a very alien landscape, unlike anything I've ever seen. It puts Badwater Basin to shame. but then I thought I'd do that one so much, and there's another drive that we did. I don't even think it was in 4K. I think it's pretty short. It's called the Artist Drive. It's near sunset. Sun's about to go down behind the mountains over there, so I don't know if what it's gonna be like after that, if it's gonna just look dark back there. It's my worry, but it's basically a way back to where I'm staying tonight, which is at the ranch here at Death Valley, in one of their lower tier priced rooms, which is not a bad room at all. I kind of flashed it, I think, at the end of the last episode if you wanted to see it. Not anything fancy, but very cozy. I didn't want to camp in a tent out here in this brutal heat. Even I have my limits. And I needed a place in between last night's destination and where I need to be tomorrow that was reasonable, and this was exactly right on where I needed to be on the map. Should be coming up on an option for us to kick off this next road trip as I'm heading back to my quarters for the night, and the lighting looks pretty right now. So it's the Artist Drive. It's a dirt road. It's an easy dirt road if I remember, and I've done this in a passenger vehicle, but it takes you through some of the terrain here, and my only concern is the sun's about to go down behind the mountains behind us, so what will that do to the light? I don't know, but I think we might just do a quick drive through here, and if I remember, it's only 5 miles, it's one way, and it's really just meant to be enjoyed from the vehicle mainly, but you're gonna see a really colorful landscape, one to share. So I think it's worth it for sure. I'm very much enjoying this from the nice air conditioning here in the vehicle, because I can tell you here at Death Valley right now, well, it says we're at 112 degrees, but we've also driven several hundred feet up a mountain, basically sides. So I think maybe that's part of it, because at Badwater Basin just a little while ago, it was I saw it get to 119 in this area on the drive there. And look at this fun roller coaster. Whee! I should pay better attention and not look down at my controller, because that guy in the tow truck was going the wrong way. It's a one-way. Or it's supposed to be, but I remember this curvy road, and it's just coming back to me now, and that's oops, I'm gonna go off the road if I don't stop paying attention to the beautiful scenery here. But that's what I'm thinking, is seeing this from the road is the way to do this, you know, by far, I would say. There's really not that many pull-offs anyway. I think we're getting towards the end. Or I shouldn't say the end, what I think is the most colorful section. Part that looks like they just took one of each of Baskin-Robbins ice cream flavors and just made a mound, and it just starts to soften and get soft, but not yet melted. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, look at that. It's fun. Can you see off to the right? There's like, I see pink, I see turquoise, I see brown, I see white. See that big mound of whatever? I'm trying to remember. This might be one of the better places to see this. I need to get a couple snapshots anyway with my other camera and this lighting, so let's get out and admire this from over here. Other than the occasional car driving on by, there's a exquisite quiet here. And I hear me stepping on gravel, but it's almost windless. I love this. And the sun's, it's held up for us. It waited for us to get to this point, I think, before immersing this whole, that's not even the word I'm looking for. It's a non-word. Or is it? I'm confused now. I'm tired. It's been a long day. It's almost like the sun held its position for us. I was so sure we were going to beat it, because I think you're getting the last rays that are going to kiss these mountaintops here for the night, and it's slowly, you could see the shadows starting to grow very, I was going to say slowly, but slow isn't the right choice of words. So while we're standing out here admiring this landscape, I'll give you a little preview of what we're doing on this episode. Tomorrow morning, I wake up and I depart Death Valley, so this is really only a quick overnighter here, and we're just kind of out near sunset exploring sites, tolerating the heat, which isn't bad up here, to be honest. It's tolerable where I'm standing right now. But then tomorrow morning we get up and I have another Death Valley activity planned for the morning, and then I'm driving deeper into California to the eastern Sierra Nevada, where we're actually going to end up at Whitney Portal Campground, where I'm camping for 2 nights so I can have some time to explore some things in that region near the Alabama hills, some other stuff. Might as well say it, because you're going to know now in this episode what next week's video is likely going to be if we follow the sequence. But I'm also going to be stopping at Cerro Gordo Ghost Town. I want to say it's the Inyo Mountains where that's located, but if you guys watch the show, I'm going to be plugging it a lot as I do that episode. I'm going to be driving up the Yellow Grade Road up to see the town. I read Brent Underwood's book, did some, updating of my historical knowledge of the place. So going to just do a tour if all goes according to plan, but not on this video. However, this video is going to be interrupted when I get to my starting point there. And then I think I am going to take you guys driving down the mountain when I leave for this video. So be sure to check that out. I don't know if it'll be worth it or not, but we'll find out when we get there. So I'm hoping that yellow road gives Slim a little bit of a workout. Probably nothing crazy, but for now he's being pampered with lots of pavement as we make our way to regions where we get to test him a little bit. But that's later on in the trip. For now, my belly's calling, so I need to go somewhere where I can find dinner. Okay, See, just as I was predicting in that short amount of time that I was jibber-jabbering out there, the sun went behind that mountain. But it did hold out for us until that moment. And you could still see it kissing the very tip-tops of the peaks up there, and you can still see the color of my mound of ice cream, as I like to call it. You know what I mean? I don't know if it would be appetizing, though, to mix all of the flavors together. I'm not usually one of those people. You guys got those people in your life that like to just go to the soda fountain and mix every flavor together? Never seems to come out that good when I've tried it, but I'm guessing with ice cream that might be the same, but who knows? Someone out there surely had to have gotten, for a world record or something, every single flavor in one serving mixed together. You see how fast it gets dark here once the sun goes behind the mountains, but it's still probably a good 20 minutes before actual sunset at this point. What's going on here? Hopefully that comes out okay. So I'm here to tell you, you would think that's water down there, wouldn't you? That's what I was thinking when we went down to Badwater Basin, but it turned out to just be salt. This had water in it, I want to say even earlier this year, but I keep seeing what I think might be puddles here and there, but it's deceiving. If you didn't know, and compound it with the fact that this used to be a lake, an ancient lake. This whole place would have been covered in water. So it makes you believe that that's just remnants of water. Alright, so I'm turning now off back onto the main drag here, Badwater Road. I'm heading back towards where I'm staying tonight. I'm hesitant to say I'm done talking to you folks for the evening and we're going to pick up in the morning, because I said that on the last episode and I ended up filming like 2 more takes, even though Amy may have edited it around it. I don't know. I don't want to keep doing that, but I'm kind of thinking I just need to go back and take care of my selfish needs, because I do need to hydrate and prepare for the morrow. So we do have a long day, a lot of driving, and a lot I want to accomplish. So I'm hanging up. I'm going to see you in the morning. Good morning. I am back. Not that you didn't think I'd come back, but I am all packed up out here at Death Valley. I'm at the ranch, admiring the sign telling me how far below sea level we are here at the ranch. 196 feet. And it gets deeper if you go to Badwater Basin, as you'd learn on last week's episode. But anywho, we have something I'm just going to do for a warm-up this morning here. I went and I found myself a cup of hot coffee over here. If you've been here before, it's next to that 1849 buffet, and then you got the Last Word Saloon, which I ate there last night. Got their bison burger. It was pretty good, and I just like that. If you've been in there and you've seen it, I just like the decor. It looks like something out of Red Dead Redemption in there, the saloon. But anyway, before we hit the road here for our road trip to head over to our next location, which is ultimately Whitney Portal Campground right at the base of Mount Whitney in California, I wanted to just do a quick stick my nose in this little borax museum over here that I keep alluding to on some of these episodes. Now right beyond is an old building. I want to say the oldest building in Death Valley, if I remember correctly. Never been inside it, it's never open, but behind it is a little museum. It's called the Borax Museum, but it's not so much about borax as it is just about mining and 1800s transportation, I would say, in general. A couple steam tractors, things like that. Not going to spend a lot of time in there because we've poked around in there before, but I also wanted to see if our railroad history, like the little Easter eggs that are around that building, are still there in 2024. So here's the rear of that ranch building here in the actual museum area, and if you've watched our channel, you've seen this before, but I love this little spot. It's like right by where all the guests stay here at the ranch. And it's on the back of this building that they had, I'd say had, because I don't see everything that I remember, but I do see one thing that I think is from the Tonopah Tidewater Railroad, or one of those railroads. And I don't even think it's numbered anymore, but I believe that's an antique. It's a really fantastic little free museum here behind all of the restaurants and stuff, but a lot of old history here in Death Valley. A lot of mining history also, and older mining history like that Arastra right there. I assume that's what that is. This is Old Dinah. I've come and said hello to Old Dinah before. It's a steam tractor. Can you imagine this thing it fully operating? Just chugging along. That would be really cool to see. And then of course its older cousin. It's a really big steam locomotive here on display. Death Valley Railroad. And this is some person's name named Borax Smith. It's old buckboard used on trips from Mojave to Death Valley via Wingate Pass in 1885. That's a really cool piece of history. It's so, the wood is so paper thin now, it's almost like it's made of toothpicks. So before we hit the road and we start making our stops on this road trip, wanted to show this. This is the most pertinent thing really to show at this juncture, are these giant wagons that would have hauled borax. These were built in, I think these wagons are from 1885 it said, but they would have 20 mules towing these like really heavy wagons. The entire thing loaded totaled 36.5 tons. And that is crazy. But yeah, those poor mules out here in the heat having to do that. That's how the West was built though, off the backs of mules. So I don't know what they're doing with all these tables here, but those green benches, there's a number above it, number 3, or I should say bench, it looks like one continuous bench. That's from one of the railroads. Does it say here? It does. Tonopah Tidewater Railroad. If I said that earlier, I was right. So it says there it is, the bench and the little lamps all over this building are from the Tonopah Tidewater Railroad. So maybe that's how I figured it out, but that's hard to read and hard to see if you're not looking out for it. So imagine the different people, how they dressed, how they smelled, how they talked, well over 100 years ago, sitting here at our railroad station, waiting for a train, maybe waiting to pick somebody up on this bench. How many butts have sat on this bench over time? Even in modern times, before they put these tables there, you could sit on that, and I bet you there are many people that have sat on this bench that were none the wiser as to where it came from. So we're on foot now at the Harmony Borax Works. You can see up on that hill over there is the leftover remains of that processing facility. So here's a perfect sign to talk about what we're here to see. This is the Harmony Borax Works you're looking at, but the 1885 version, and this is basically telling you that borax is the white gold of Death Valley, and although we've learned on our channel of a few prospectors and stuff that was searching for gold and other precious metals, it's really borax that was the profitable mineral here. And you can basically going to take a stroll through time now and kind of keep that in the back of your mind, and those giant 20 mule teams. That there's those wagons, see? I'm gonna guess they worked those things, you know, all year round, even in the hot summers out here. And it just must have been really tough on the mules and the people too. I just feel bad for the mules. Yeah, I'm glad I'm started pretty early, because that heat now, that blistering heat that they're gonna get again today, is starting to creep up on my shoulders here on my back, and I'm feeling it. It's hot. A little humid too. If you look down below too, I'm not gonna walk out there in this episode, but there's a couple old adobe walls left. A couple structures, presumably from the same operation, out here at the Harmony Borax Works. We are pretty much here at this 1800s. The picture we saw was from 1885, mind you. The Old West, mining borax. Probably not the most, at the cocktail party, what do you do for a living? Oh, I mine borax. It doesn't sound as good as saying I mine gold or I prospect gold. But you can see there's an oven, and you see that riveted metal, so indicative of those times. It's big, I guess, pressure tanks. They would have probably, I guess, I don't know if that's an oven, they would have put wood in there or something, and I don't know how the processing of borax works. Aesthetically speaking, this is a beautiful leftover remnant from that time. I always love adobe brick, seeing some of the wood still inlaid, like in the door frames, which you can see here. And you know, it's just such a good look for an old thing, and it melts, and it's so temporary, and it kind of fits into what I was saying about seeking out Old West leftovers and how they're just so transient. You know, they came and they went, and the ones that are still remaining are just holding on. And probably in another lifetime or two, if they don't do anything about it, I could see these walls melting away with each, you know, infrequent yet heavy rain that they get out here. As we swing around this side of the trail, I also wanted to kind of show you the desolate landscape here at Death Valley. Just very salty. All that white you see isn't water or snow, it's salt. Very, very salty. And here we are at maybe the my favorite piece here, these wagons that they transported that borax in with the 20 mule teams. 20 mules hooked up to this thing. 36 tons full. And this just talks about how the 20 mule team has been a symbol for borax in this industry, which I think that show Death Valley Days back in the day was sponsored by 20 mule team borax, wasn't it? One of those companies. And this was the symbol. And as I walk the length of this wagon, and I wonder how many loads this thing took. Wonder how many mules saw its last day towing this thing across these barren wastes here at Death Valley. Get one last look here at the grounds here at Harmony Borax Works, an 1800s gem. All right, so it's starting to get hot, and even in this short time, it's creeping up. Camera's overheating, so let's get back to the air condition and get to a cooler climb. Get yourself one last look at the Harmony Borax Works as we leave. Gotta escape Death Valley, man. It's getting hot. What's the temperature right now? I don't want to show you because it probably makes me sound like a wimp. It is 92 already, and it's not even 9 a.m. yet. I think it's gonna be a hot one here. In a way, if I wasn't doing photography and videography and dealing with electronics and overheating and all that, I might even say this is the best time of the year to come out here. And hear me out. Yeah, it's just there's so few people here. Although there still are people here, but you know, when I'm driving around and I see all these overflow parking lots and stuff that kind of hint at busier times, I don't think I've ever seen Death Valley at its fullest capacity. Probably in the winter months. I don't know if I want to, but there's a benefit to, you know, if you can put up with the heat, there's definitely a benefit to it out in the Southwest to get out and do stuff, because you'll oftentimes get places all to yourself. Although I might add, it's after yesterday and going down to Badwater Basin and only a measly 119 degrees over there, maybe 120. And I live in Phoenix, so I'm no stranger to that, but that's pushing the upper end of what, you know, we typically even get out in Phoenix. It's we get in the teens, the 100 and teens, but it's a reminder of how hot life can be. Hot. Should be a beautiful drive also out where we're going, and you know, probably from here I just have a couple things in mind as for stops, but well, really what's on my mind is this trip up to Cerro Gordo, which I don't want to talk about too much. I'm going to save that for that particular episode. Very excited about it, a little nervous too. The nervousness really coming from, I can't find a lot of information about visitation up there. Like if you Google it, you know, if you go to cerrogordo.com, I assume it was, their main page, it's just a store that sells merchandise, and I didn't see any information about, do you need to make a reservation? I've seen some things in the past that made you think so, so I emailed somebody there. I got an email address from their Facebook page, and I never heard from the person. I just said, hey, I plan on dropping by on this date around this time. Self-guided tour, hopefully. Can I fly my drone a little bit? That's kind of all I said, and I never got a response. So maybe I'll get up there and be turned around. We're getting close to our turn, and I see the Mesquite Sand Dunes of Death Valley off to my left. We're going to be turning and getting some of that in our view, and this is one of the things I was thinking about doing, and stopping and hiking out onto the dunes this morning, which I've done before. Made a whole video on it a few years ago. Pre-4K, so probably not the best video ever, but we could still pitch it, right? So if you want to see me walk out on to what I perceive to be the tallest sand dune out in that field, watch that old video. But let's just drive by and we'll see. Maybe we'll at least stop and get a photo or two. And here we are, folks, at the desolate Mesquite Sand Dunes here at Death Valley National Park, and we'll walk out a little ways, but it's hot, and just like this says, heat kills. Here we are at the Mesquite Sand Dunes. Beautiful. Minimal landscape, I love it. A lot of people have walked out further, but we'll go a little bit further, but we're not going far. Not today, folks. Found me a good little vantage point from which to survey the dunes. I want to say, I mean, the dunes are always shifting, but the same relative location of the one that I hiked up, kind of in the middle where it's all stacked up, it seems to be where the tallest dunes congregate. And that's where I've hiked to the top of that and walked along the ridge and down the other side. It's a lot of fun. But really the views around here are what make it. Not in this lighting, but if you see those mountains in the background looking back out towards Beatty, Nevada, Rhyolite, where we came from, up and over those mountains, miles that way. These things have a really nice chocolate brown color that contrasts beautifully with the sand in the right lighting. And this is not it. It's too early, or too late, I should say, in the morning for that. But I hear sunsets are supposed to be the bee's knees here. As for me, I still have yet to be able to make it out here at sunset, but one of these days when I can just kind of plant roots down here for a few days or something like that, so I don't have to rush all the time. All right, let's get out of this hot, hellish Death Valley now, what do you say, and escape to some cooler climbs somewhere out beyond these mountains. First, we gotta get over them. Mesquite Sand Dunes. I came close to not even stopping. I was like, it's too hot to even do what I did. But I was like, come on, now we're taking things too far. So we did it. And just as I promised myself, I took this opportunity to just eat breakfast out of my truck. Went in my cooler, had a few hard-boiled eggs.
190 west.
Oh, I have to turn around here, don't I, in this parking lot. And some hydration.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto California 190 west.
Now I'm ready to head out into the desert for now, and then soon into the mountains. And now just a little bit longer in Death Valley.
On California 190 west for 63 miles.
So we have 75 miles total, and I guess 63 is the point at which we're gonna depart ways on this episode as I drive up to Cerro Gordo, less than 2 hours away from my start time. Woohoo! I don't know where Panamint Valley starts, if that's where we're about to enter. I know Panamint Springs, the town, is over here, but if you turn left, that goes towards, for sure, Panamint Valley and Ballarat. Famous little ghost town out in these parts. Still a lot of that black basalt rock, too. This whole mountain is just made of it, so I didn't really study up on the volcanism of this area, but plenty of it. Huge amounts of it. The mountains out here just have a special coloration to them also. They're just very colorful. Not the best time of day to be seeing them, granted, but love the mountains of the Death Valley area. Alright, I think I see plenty of spots on the shoulder here to pull over when we get down at the bottom here, and then try to get you some nice shots of the mountains and, you know, everything else around here. I guess right up here should be a nice little spot so we could survey our surroundings. people driving behind me pretty quickly, so I want to get out of their way so they can pass me here. Seems like there's a lot more brush now than the last time I was here. It's a lot more desolate looking. Anyway, it's a cool landscape that's always stuck out of my mind, so. If this scene communicates quiet, peace and quiet, and heat, then I'm doing my job right, because you got both of those things here until cars drive by on that road. But this is that, what I'm calling a playa. For some reason I'm worried I've got the terminology incorrect, but it's really cool. I filmed out here once and walked out a little ways. You could see, you know, it looks like an old lake bed or something. When it rains occasionally and starts to dry, you get all these cracks out here. Just like that. But, you know, standing out here, one of the things that I think that I like about this particular location is just how tiny and insignificant it makes one feel. I think it's healthy to reflect on things like that every once in a while. You can probably walk miles, I bet, in either direction, and this is gonna be your landscape, and boy is it bright. Should have brought my sunglasses. It's very remarkable. And yeah, there's not been many vehicles all of a sudden, and little light breeze, very, very light, but there it is again. The breeze is welcome, but when it's not there, it's just that exquisite quiet. Unlike any quiet you've heard in a long time, I think. So we've got about 5 miles, 4.5 miles to my turn to head up to Cerro Gordo. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm finally here. After all these years of wanting to check this out. And after years of watching Brent Underwood's Ghost Town Living channel and seeing I think we've seen every single episode. And probably the same can be said for his second channel too. And I recently rewatched a bunch of his earlier ones, so it might not be a stretch to say that that's my favorite YouTube channel, Ghost Town Living. If you've not heard of it, we're going to talk a lot about it in the Cerro Gordo episode, but basically the current owner of Cerro Gordo has a YouTube channel, and he goes into the old mines, 900 feet underground, and films it all. Very adventurous gentleman, that guy. More than I can say I've ever had. But yeah, what I think we're gonna do here is I'm gonna just stop filming this episode temporarily. I'm gonna put you guys on hold while I go do my business up at the top of those mountains somewhere. And like I said, come back for that episode probably next week. And you'll get to see the whole thing. And I'm toying around with the idea of capturing the drive down the mountain for this episode when we're done. But I want to survey the road first and see if it will make for good entertainment. I hear the drive down is a little bit more spine-tingling than the drive up, although there's some drop-offs up there that I've heard about. So nothing that Slim can't handle. Unless that road's wiped out after a heavy rain. I've seen what it looks like on those videos. It's nothing to mess around with. But anyway, I'll see you guys on the other side. Hopefully, this side of the mountain is what I mean. All right, folks, Slim and I are ready to resume our road trip with you to our campground tonight at Whitney Portal. The dirt on his tires should show you that we did ascend the mountain, and we did go up to Cerro Gordo. We did not, however, make a complete video, which is a really big bummer. So I'm going to just give you a heads up about that. There will be a video, but it may not be exactly what you think. It's probably going to be next week's. So you see, unfortunately, they adopted, it's private property, that ghost town, and they opted to implement a no video policy, period, at all in town, in the town's grounds, because one bad person was going into the private residences filming. So they just decided to nix it, so you can't film. So that really sucked. So I took a bunch of still photos, and I'm gonna still try to make a video, because the drive up there was really cool. But my heart is broken. Like that was the top thing on my trip that I was looking forward to doing. So not a fan of those policies, to be honest with you. And like I was telling Amy also, they don't know, nor do I think it really impacts them, to be honest with you. But I was gonna buy 3 t-shirts, and now I'm saying I can't afford to because I'm not gonna make the few bucks I make off of making videos. So there's a penalty both ways for that one person's bad behavior. And I would say, Brent Underwood, if you hear this, I would reconsider that policy. I don't think the actions of one person doing something bad should punish the rest of us, especially those of us that are seeking history. We're here for the right reasons. We're not here for being bad, but that's how life works sometimes, unfortunately. And I actually did, for one of the only times I ever did, I reached out via email in advance, mainly to check on their drone policies to see if they allow flying on their private policy, because they can say no to that, which you can't fly a drone up there either, just so you know, because of their rule. But nobody ever even responded to me. It was like 2 weeks ago, I went on their Facebook page and saw the name of their caretaker and his email address. And it says to email that guy. I did, no answer. And when I was talking to the guy up there today, I don't think that guy works there anymore. So that's probably part of the problem. But had I known that, that would have saved me a lot of time and trouble and money. Do a better job, Cerro Gordo, with that, please. That's all. If I can ask anything from that experience, use your website, cerrogordo.com, make another tab about, help, whatever that has to do with visiting the town, because I couldn't find any info at all, anywhere. So while Slim's happy because that ride up there was pretty exciting and fun, I'm not the happiest person right now. I'm not mad or anything like that, but I put a lot of time and effort studying the history. I read his book. It's like showing up to Wally World and then being told it's closed. For me, it's like that. All right, so I guess after that disappointment, that sadness, all we can really do is, I guess, finish off this one. We're going to head to my campground now at Whitney Portal on the this side of the on the Eastern Sierra, basically up in the woods near the Alabama Hills and Lone Pine. Gonna drive over there now, and we'll check out the place when we get there. Just a while ago, we were down at the bottom of the hot valley floor. Temperature's now 85 degrees, according to my vehicle. So I think we're still dropping in temperature. And I guess this is that switchback that I saw, or thought I saw from a distance. And tonight I'm going to be staying in site number 42. We're only like a mile away at this point, so that campground's somewhere in here, but you see all those pine trees like tucked away back here. How would you know that from out there on 395? It all looks like a desert to me out there. And then back here, it's a whole different world. You can see like rays of sunlight hitting the top of some of those peaks up there too. Oh wow, it is beautiful back here. Just the view is worth it. So I guess we're just gonna make a beeline for the campground, and then we're gonna, I guess we'll let them come around and do their rounds, and they'll know that I'm here. There's 40. 41. So there's 42. That would be me. It's gonna be tight for you, Slim. That's a really tight turn here. come in there and figure this out, I guess. Boy, oh boy. Man, it's almost like impossible for this truck. Even Slim, and Slim, as you know, it's his name. I have to like go off-roading the park. And this is another campground that seems to be very popular, so there wasn't any choice. Site 42, I think, was all they had when I looked. So if it sucks, it sucks. I see a tent like right behind me too. I'm like, which one's my site? It might be kind of close quarters tonight. So let's go give you my first impressions. And I'm starting the film like sitting in my driver's seat. I just arrived and I want you to get the full effect of me seeing it for the first time. You'll see if I'm disappointed or not. I think this is me right here. So those are my neighbors. Not horrible. They do have bears here, so they have bear lockers for food, and looks like this is my site. This could be a place to pitch my tent. Not very level over here. More level up here, so I think where I'm going to pitch my tent is here. I actually kind of dig it, to be honest with you. It's not the most level site. The picnic table's a little unlevel, but you know, there's lots of block sight lines from the boulders to the trees. So I would say site 42 is nice. I'm good with it. I have no complaints other than that driveway. I mean, that's a one-way road, I think, so you can see we're kind of facing the wrong direction. Yeah, it's tight, and I have a small pickup truck, so certainly not suitable, I think, for a trailer or anything like that. I assume the website said that it was the recreation.gov. Even if it does rain, I think we're gonna be okay. Usually these pines help block water very well. It looks like they chopped down a lot of wood here too. But yeah, this should be great up here for the tent. It's perfect. I was gonna say over here when I pulled up, looked like the spot I had to set it up on, and you could, but it is definitely more slanted there. Alrighty. How about we get the tent set up now? Hi, good morning. Yes, it is the next morning. This whole road trip is spanning 3 days technically, just because I forgot to film a goodbye yesterday. I got back, showed you the campsite, set up the tent, laid down on the cot and pretty much conked out. Didn't even intend on doing that. And then by the time I woke up, it was late and I just decided to sleep through the night. And that's exactly what I did. I think my sadness about not being able to visit Cerro Gordo took its toll. At any rate, it is a beautiful morning here at Whitney Portal. Most beautiful morning of the trip so far, I would say, here in this beautiful forest. And I slept perfectly, so I'm ready to attack the day. Anyway, yesterday was not all for naught, because we got this road trip video done. And it was pretty epic, I thought. We got to see a lot. Death Valley all the way over here to Whitney Portal. So anyway, hope you feel like you got your money's worth, and we'll be back next week, maybe with that Cerro Gordo video. We'll see what we can do with it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then. Bye.